Afternoon everyone, how are you all? So it is a glorious day here in Brisbane and it's a long weekend. I know every state is different and I just found out this afternoon that we now are on a different time frame to Sydney and Melbourne. So anyway, let's crack on. It's dinner time down there, so it's not quite dinner time here. So one of the things I've been doing this week is talking to you about swapping ingredients, and I also had somebody ask me particularly to do a quick easy gravy. So this has been my go-to gravy. Oh, I can't remember. It's been around a really long time. It was in the TM 31 days and it's still on Cookie Doo and it is just fabulous. But it's a rosemary and shallot gravy and I'll post the link in the comments later, but it's easy to find. If you just put in rosemary or gravy, rosemary gravy, it will come up as one of the first things. So under here, I can't even remember if I actually went into cook with it. Oh, here it is, rosemary and shallot gravy. So I'm not using shallots today. I had a big leek, so I've got leek and I'm adding some extra cloves of garlic. So I'm very fortunate. I've got a couple of really big rosemary bushes. So what goes well with lamb? We're having a roast tonight. I've got my dad and my son coming for dinner, and I'll talk about this in a minute. So I just thought, what better with lamb than rosemary? So just as a little side note, I'm just remembering to tell you, you know, Anzac Day and Remembrance Day, they have pieces of rosemary on their lapel. Do you know why? Remind me to tell you a little bit later. I'll see if a few comments pop up. But why do they have rosemary on their lapel on Anzac Day and Remembrance Day? So let's get straight in. Let me restart and start cooking. Now, I changed this recipe, of course. Not only am I changing the ingredients a little bit, I actually changed the cook time because I use the gravy time to cook my vegetables. It's so easy. You just really put it on for a little bit longer and make more liquid, but it reduces down and it is a beautiful gravy. If you're doing a traditional roast in the oven, then you can just put this gravy into your pan juices and it is absolutely divine. If you're not doing that, it's still a lovely gravy all on its own. So it's asking for a tablespoon of olive oil. Of course, guess what I'm using? And you can always know it's warm in Brisbane when things are melting like that. So it's been, I think, it's been 31 degrees here today, so summer is definitely on its way. So it wants a tablespoon of olive oil, ghee, coconut oil, whatever your preferred oil is. That's what you're going to use. Doesn't matter. Okay, then we are going to put in, I'm putting in my leeks next. And oh, it actually wants a bit more butter, so I might just put a wee bit more ghee. I don't need an awful lot of fat, but I'm just going to put a little bit more because the flavour of the ghee is just yum, divine. Okie dokie. And some fresh rosemary. So usually when I'm doing the rosemary, I pull it down that way. It'll come off a lot easier than trying to get it off that way. You see what I mean? So a few sprigs of rosemary. And now these are really great to keep for doing skewers. So because that lovely smell, if you put your pieces of lamb or pieces of chicken, you're going to get that beautiful rosemary infusion in your kebab. They're great. And the other thing with using these instead of using normal timber skewers, because of the natural oil in there, they won't burn. Whereas if you're using timber skewers, you're supposed to soak them so they don't burn on your barbecue. Lots of hints and tips today. Okay, so without the measuring cup, And we're just going to do that for 7 minutes, which I probably won't, because obviously on a live I tend to cut time a little bit or skip over a few things. But let me just come closer. I hope you can see that. I never know if you can see the screen well. So under here we'll come to the recipe details. After we've done 8 minutes, after we've done the 7 minutes, sorry, it says to add your wine, your veggie stock paste. Remember, if you want a veggie stock sticker, just put stock sticker and I'll PM you for your address and I'll post you one. Our veggie stock, and that's it. Oh, and some water. So how much water was in there? It's 120 grams of wine, and it says meat stock. I've never ever made meat stock, ever. In 14 years, never made it. Can't go wrong with veggie stock. Okay, and 250 mils of water. So what I'm going to be doing is cooking my veggies up the top. So however long that takes, so sometimes it depends on how many I've got and what size. So when you're using your Varoma, try and keep things even. So if you've got pumpkin's going to cook really quickly, I've got my Brussels sprouts cut in half, loads of green beans and my carrot. So just keep things evenly cut. You know, they're going to cook evenly, because if you've got great big pieces of potato in there and then you've got little bits of carrot, obviously your carrot's going to cook quicker. With that in mind, if you are doing potato, I would put my potatoes in first, and I would have cooked my potatoes maybe for 10 minutes and then throw the rest of my veg in for the last 5, depending on how you like your veggies cooked. Okay, so where are we up to? Hints and tips. It says about meat stock, we're not going to worry that. If you don't have rosemary, what else could you use? Thyme. Thyme is a beautiful herb. If you have no herbs at all, you could use mixed dried herbs. Just be really careful, not too much, because they're concentrated. What else would I... Oh, okay, let me just stop. And so I still had a couple of minutes left to go there, but it is already at 120 degrees. So here I'm going to add actually I'm going to chop that a little bit. So I'm just going to bookmark it, and I'm just going to chop it a little bit. That elusive measuring cup. Just 2 seconds, and I've told you many times before that the speed won't start counting until it gets up to speed. Oh look, that's beautiful. That's just done a lovely chop, because this gravy at the end gets strained through the simmering basket, so you don't have the pieces of rosemary in there. So come back to my bookmark, and 120 grams, all the rest of the bottle. Oh, look at that. I could have had that little bit myself, couldn't I? But anyway, that's all right. So I put 156 grams of red wine. If you don't want red wine or you can't drink alcohol, you could use verjuice, which is a non-alcoholic wine basically, or just omit it and just put extra stock in, okay? Extra stock, extra water. And our flavour base of our veggie stock, and 250 grams. So I always like to clean my spoon off at the same time. So I had a bit of extra red wine, so a little bit less water. As long as you actually, to the top of the blade, it's sitting right on the top of the blade, that's about 500 mil, and that is perfect for steaming. Rule of thumb, every 500 mil per half hour. on your varoma. Now those veggies are not going to take half an hour, okay? They will probably only take, getting from cold up to hot, maybe 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how you like your veggies cooked. Okay, so lid on. Now it's saying here, I don't know if you can see that, to put your simmering basket on the top, but because I'm cooking my veggies at the same time, I'm actually putting my varoma up there. The reason they're saying to put your simmering basket on or your varoma is so that you're not going to help reduce your sauce down. Okay, and away we go. It says 8 minutes. It will take a little bit longer than that because this is cold. It's only 40 degrees. So I'm just going to pop it up for, I'm just going to do 10 minutes and then I'll see how my veggies are looking. Because if you think about your Thermomix as cooking on a stovetop, you would check it. So, you know, most of our recipes are pretty spot on. If this was just a gravy with nothing else, the timing would be perfect. But because I'm cooking my veggies at the same time, so I've got my roast lamb in the oven and I've got some roast veggies that are going to go in a moment. But whilst we are just having a chat, waiting for that, I'm not going to cook the whole thing today. I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be doing a series of virtual demos. Now, what does this mean to you guys? What it means is all you have to do, if you would like a virtual demo because of people being all over Australia, I can do a 30-minute or 60-minute demo for you. All you would need is to invite 2 guests. They don't have to be at your home, they can zoom in, we could do it through Messenger. But what it means to you is you have an opportunity to double dip with great host rewards. Now, one of the host rewards this month is the handy vac. Now, this is $300, $2.99. Who's going to argue over $1? This is $2.99. If you host a cooking experience or demo virtually or in person, I'm happy to do in person if you would like, you have an opportunity to get this little baby for $49. If there's a sale from your demo, so line up your really keen friends, you can get this for $49. If there is no sale, you can get it for $150, so you can still get it half price. So if you would like to get yourself one of these Horverk handy vacs, then let me know. Just put in the comments demo and I will private message you and we can make arrangements to cook something together. So you can sit and watch me cook, or if you want to do a cook along, let me know. The other thing I said about double dipping, if you have 2 people at your cooking experience / demo, you get 20% off at the mix shop. So if you wanted something like the meter, or if you want blade cover, or if anything you want from the mix shop, you can get 20% off just by having 2 guests at your cooking experience. As I said, I would set up a camera much clearer than this. I'd have a camera on here and you will be able to see what I'm doing at the same time, and I would tailor the menu to what you would like. So if you're keen on seeing bread, or if you want to see sauces, or if you want to see some of the new features of the TM6, if you don't yet have a TM6. Anyway, that was all I wanted to say really. I will be back in the week with more hints and tips around swapping ingredients. So all I swapped in this was my butter for ghee and my shallots for leeks. So whatever you've got, don't be tied in by exactly what the recipe says. Now, who knows what rosemary's good for? I didn't actually see anyone's comments up there. Rosemary is for remembrance. Why is it for remembrance? It's actually really good for your memory. It's a true. very true. If you diffuse oils, one of my favorites is actually diffusing rosemary. It is such a beautiful smell. So, and it is good for our brain. So there you go, a little bit of trivia for a Sunday afternoon. If you're in lockdown, I hope you're all well. We probably won't be in lockdown until after the football. Anyway, that's okay. Let's catch up tomorrow and we will see what's on the menu. I've got bone broth on the menu sometime this week, so I'll be talking about fermentation and varying a recipe that way. All right, hope you have a great evening and I'll see you all tomorrow. It's a holiday here, so I'm not sure what time I'll be. Okay, bye now.